Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I am Rajnikant and today's video I'm gonna discuss cache, what is a cache and how to implement cache in Spring Boot. No? So if you have not subscribed my channel yet, please do subscribe it and hit the bell icon to get all the notifications from my side so that you will not miss anything and ultimately you will be get benefited out of it, right? So let's quickly begin. So what do you mean by exactly this cache? No? So cache means a temporary storage. Suppose it's a temporary storage. Cache means it's a temporary storage, right? And it will helps to perform the application, right? It will improve that application's performance, right? So how it will improve the application's performance and what exactly that one? So let me tell you one scenario. Okay, suppose you know that we have zip code. So city, for the city we have different zip code, right? We have different zip code. So suppose you have an application, suppose this is one UI and you are searching with some city, for some city with searching some city, and here is this submit button. Okay, so this is the UI and here is that middleware, and maybe either you can search it from API, maybe you are calling some API to fetch that one, or maybe you are calling some database call where you have stored all those cities, those things, city with zip code you have stored, right? So while searching this city, you are hitting that either API or maybe database, right? So for a city name, that zip code is constant. So it will never gonna change. It's a fixed one, right? So maybe it's a rare case that it will change. I mean, I don't know, maybe it will not change also. It's a fixed one, right? Suppose you are searching some, here some Madhapur you are searching. Madhapur. Okay. So for Madhapur, maybe what is that? Maybe let's see what is that Madhapur's pin. Okay. Suppose it's 500,081. No, 500,081. Right. So we are searching Madhapur. Then it's hitting to that either API based on your implementation. Maybe you are fetching those uh, zip codes from API. Then that time it will hit that API call. Or maybe you have stored those city with zip code in DB. Maybe that time it will go to DB call, right? But you can see here that zip code is fixed. Suppose one time you search, it will hit to API or DB. Second time you hit with same Madhapur, it will hit the DB or API, right? So here a round network round trip is more, but the data is fixed, right? So what you can do, because the data will not gonna change, you can implement a cache or temporary storage kind of thing, right? So here the temporary storage is there, and here it's, suppose it's Madhapur and pin is 500,081. Okay, so that time if you implement this cache, what will happen? Whenever you will search, first it will check in that cache, and if that value is present, suppose for Madhapur one entry is there in that cache, then that time it will return from here itself, right? If that is present in cache, it will return from here itself, right? So that time just you can see we have reduced those network round trips. We are not calling to API, or we are not calling to DV. We are not calling to API, or we are not calling to DV to fetch the data. Instead we are returning the data from cache memory, right? So that time we'll get more performance. Why? Means we are not hitting DB or we are not hitting API, which will take more time, right? So if you are searching something, suppose I am searching Gachivoli, Gachivoli, right? But the data is not there in cases. So that time what it will happen? It will go to either API or it will go to DB. Then it will fetch that one and it will store to here Gachivoli and some 500,000 0082 maybe. then from here again it will return to your application, right? So this is that entire cache mechanism, how we'll achieve performance, right? Because here those data are fixed, they're never gonna change, right? So instead of hitting multiple time to database or API, we can implement this cache like this, right? So hope you got it. Now let's see how we can implement different cases, right? Implementation. Now we'll see implementation. We got what is cache and why it will increase that performance. We got that one, right? Now let's see implementation, right? So in implementation, how we can implement cache? By default, not by default, by your own you can implement. Maybe you took some hash map and storing those, fast checking in that hash map those values are there or not. If it's not there, then you are hitting to dv, and then you are storing that result into that map. It's a map, right? And storing into here, then again you are returning from here. So this is custom, your own custom or your own implementation, right? But this is very overhead. You need to write some map kind of thing, and you need to manage everything, right? So why should you worry about this one, right? Already Spring supports cache mechanism. Spring supports cache, right? So all those boilerplate logics will be taken care of by Spring, right? So we need not to worry about these things at all, right? So Spring already supports cache mechanisms, right? So this is the entire thing. So now let's see an working example. So how we'll do in a Spring, right? So let me open my IntelliJ IDEA and we'll start working on cache. You can choose any IDE based on your preferences. So we're gonna create a Spring Boot starter project. So let me create some existing project. This one, let me quickly create file, new project, Spring Boot Assistant. So JDK version, whatever you have installed. So I have both Java 8 and Java 15. Recently I have installed Java 15. You can go, and here we can choose group ID com.java shastra dot cache. Artifact ID, here it should be project name. What project name will give? Spring Boot cache JDK. Why means JDK? Today we're gonna see JDK cache, not in cache. We do have also different implementation. You can go for Guava cache, you can go for cache, and we can go for Redis cache. So today we'll see JDK cache means it's a hash map based implementation. Then snapshot let it be, and Java jar packaging style and Java version let me take 15. I have installed Java 15. Based on your installation Java in your system, you can choose that one. See a cache demo, and here let me take one package, and here, okay, here we go. Now let's see what are the dependencies we need to choose, right? So here we'll do some web application development also. So let me check Spring Web, and we'll get rid of getter setters, all those things. So we'll let me take Lombok as well. lombuk Lombok I have selected. Then the main thing, what is that one? Spring Cache abstraction. This is that main one we need to take. Spring Cache abstraction. This three is enough. So let's next and next. So this window let me take. It will take some time to load that project, resolve those dependencies. Yeah, I have done. So let me quickly walk you around through that pom.xml, Java version 15, and you can see Spring Boot Starter Web is there, and Spring Boot Starter Web, Spring Boot Starter Cache. These two things we required. So now let's see. Now let's develop quickly a packaging structure so that we'll quickly start. So that same example also we will take based on the city name. We will return the zip code, right? So for that one, let me take one controller package. Where is package? controller controller. Then let's take one more package for service. service service. And let's take one more package for entity here. City, that class name will take city. Okay, sorry. Package. In the city, two attributes will be there: city name and zip code. Entity will take entity entity. Here we go. So first, what is that application? In based on the city name, we'll retrieve zip code, right? So for that one, we need city, right? One class city, and here we can paste private string. I have some already code written. What is that one? City name and zip code. Because you know that if I'll type everything, it will take a lot of time. Still, I need to type. So here we took Lombok. So let's take the advantage of that one. So at the rate data, this single annotation will solve setters, getters, and what else? To string, hash code equals everything. It will take care of that one. And one more, let me take this one as a builder also, so that instead of creating by constructor that objects directly within that builder design pattern, we can create that object quickly. So we have done this one. Now let's take a service class where we'll implement the entire cache thing. So let me take this one as a cache service, right? So here let me annotate with @component or @service. Those are stereotypes annotations which will make this class as a bean in that IOC container. Hope you know those things. Now here what we can do, let me copy this one. That's why I took this one, so that I will directly paste. Alt enter. Already I have implemented the city, no, or I have not saved. Okay. city, it's crying. Alt enter. Make public, or sorry, we should take that private one. Alt enter. Map and hash map. Alt enter. Don't know what is the problem. Okay. So what I am doing, because it's a dummy implementation I am doing here, right? Dummy implementation means instead of storing into the DB, here I am taking and storing those things in a map, right? So if you see here, I am creating a constructor, and in that no parameter constructor, I am creating a hash map with key as a string and value as a city, and in that map I am storing those city with their respective values. So for high-tech city, here I am creating a builder design pattern and creating that object with builder design pattern. So city.builder.city name, I am passing high-tech city, and zip code I am passing that appropriate zip code here, and string and city object I am putting here, like exactly like here SR Nagar is that key, and in that value I am putting a city object. So Here nothing is there. Here I am creating a object with builder design pattern. You need not to worry about this one. City.builder.city name.zip code.build. So it will return a city object. Exactly like this, three, four more objects I am setting it here. So Miapur, the respective zip code and city name. Like this I am printing. Like this I'm taking, right? So now let's move to next. Now let's move to next. What we can do here. So here let's take two, three. Why it's where is that? I don't know what happened. Okay, my bad. Okay, so now let's take two, three methods, right? So first method is public will return the city, right? City get zip code. And here what we'll do, the parameter should be what? City name. So city name is what? String city name. You should follow those appropriate naming conventions. So city name, you can see it should be camel case, and we'll return that city zip code, city details, no? So here dot get with that city name. Okay, so here I'm returning that one, return. So if you're thinking where exactly we're doing that what cache thing, right? So here we can do that cache thing. So on what method you want to cache? So at the rate cacheable, one annotation is there in Spring, right? So what exactly this cacheable will do? First it will search. So whenever you are searching with a city name, right? Suppose I am searching with high-tech city name. So if with that city name in cache is that city name is there, right? Suppose one cache is there. Let me move back to that this one. So this is that cache, right? Suppose this is that cache, and in that cache values will be stored in key value pair, right? So if it's high tech city, and this is that object, right? If it is there, then directly it will return from cache. The same thing we are doing it here. If you are annotating with @cacheable, and if that parameter is city name, the city name will act as a key, right? Whatever the parameters we are passing, that parameter will act as a key, and it will check in that cache if with that city name any cache is there, right? Then it will return from itself. Then it will return from that cache. It will not invoke that method at all, right? It will not invoke that method at all. So this is that cacheable annotation working principle. So again let me explain. So at that cacheable, what it will do, so suppose you are calling a method with a parameter. So with that parameter it will check in that cache if for this name is there anything in that cache. If it is there, then directly it will return from itself. Directly it will return from that cache, right? If it is not there, then it will go to the database or whatever that API method. It will fetch that one from there, and it will store it here, that cache, and again it will return from that cache, that value, right? So the same thing at that cacheable it's doing. So that cacheable, what exactly it will take? First it will take a cache name, right? So it will take a name or value, maybe that one, right? Value. So cache name itself indicates what is this one? City zip CSESC city zip cache, right? So this cache name, what exactly this one? So cache name indicates one hash map. So suppose city zip code, city zip code, you have taken this name, right? So if you see here, I am taking city zip code, this cache name. This means here one map will be there with that name, right? One map will be there with that name. It's indicate one map kind of thing. You just think in that way. Suppose suppose different methods are there and you have multiple cache name. So that time multiple map kind of thing you can imagine, right? Suppose maybe it's some other cache. Suppose state city cache, right? You can imagine in like this way. So one cache name itself, one map kind of thing, right? One cache map, right? So this is got that name. Now let's see what are the other things, right? So how it will define those keys, right? So how it will define that key? Suppose here high tech city, high tech city, right? Maybe spelling wrong. So high tech city. So how it will identify that key, right? So that key can be identified from this parameter. So based on your parameter, it will identify that key, right? On what key basis it will store into that map in that cache, right? So if you have a single parameter means that time this single parameter will act as a key itself. But suppose if you have multiple parameters, maybe suppose string some name I am passing or some string something string name to, right? So that time how it will identify that key? So Spring itself, it will take these three parameter. On based on these three parameter, it will identify a key for that cache, right? So this is key concept. So if you have only single parameter, then that time this one will act as a directly key. So if you see here, if you are not passing anything default, if you are not passing anything, that time this one will take a key of that cache. So suppose if you see here key, so let me take this city name as a key. This is a expression, el expression. If you have single parameter, then it's fine, you no need to define. If you want also, you can define like this. So as this is a single parameter, I am not taking this as a key. Let's remove this one. Yeah, here we go, right? So this is that cacheable, right? So first time it will come to here, and from this zip code map it will return that city object it will return. But second time onwards, with that city name high tech city, in that map or in that cache, those things will be present, right? So that time it will not hit to this method. So let me give some system.out.println to check whether that method is invoking or not. Get zip code method called called. Okay, here we go. Now let's implement something. Okay, here we have done cacheable. Now let's move to that our controller part, right? So let's write that controller. Here we go. New Java class cache controller, and let me annotate with this one at the rate rest controller, and let's take a get method public city get alt enter get city by name. So it will return that zip code, right? At the rate get mapping, because it's a and here we can pass that URL, and here we want cache service, right? So sorry cache service, and I need to auto wire that one at the rate auto wire, control alt L, and here I need to call that method, no zip code, and here we want at a request param or query parameter at the rate request param, and we can pass that city name or name directly, it's fine. So string name, and we can pass this name here. Okay, we have done return. Okay, so completely we have done. So now let's see that cache configuration, how we can configure that cache, right? So there are different implementations are there, I already told. So cache will be there, guava cache will be there, redis cache will be there, but today I am explaining here it's a jdk based map concept based cache, right? So simply for that one, what you can do, we can do here at the rate enable caching, right? With this simply annotation, it will set up everything, right? So internally how it will work, let me explain you here. Okay, sorry. So whenever you will implement this cache internally, what will happen? One cache manager object will be created. Cache manager, right? One cache manager object will be created, and this will maintain everything. So if you see a cache manager means, so here the entire thing will be there, right? So you have created multiple caches, right? So this entire thing will be there. Those caches will be presented in cache manager, and cache manager will handle everything. So whenever you are enabling cache, so internally Spring Boot is pretty much intelligent enough. It will create those beans, right? So cache manager will be created by Spring itself. So based on that implementation, so here we are doing the JDK based. So we no need to do specific configurations because here we are already using the JDK. By itself, it will create that cache manager. Else, if you are using some other case like Guava case or you can say ES case, that time explicitly we need to create those case manager, or we need to do some little bit configuration to do those stuffs, right? So simply I will upload those videos also, either ES case and Guava case gradually, but today we're gonna see that JDK based case, right? So for that one we don't need to do anything, simply add that enable caching. If you want to explicitly create that manager, control alt L, that cache manager, you can do that one. So let me auto wire that cache manager, sorry, cache manager, cache manager, and auto wire at the red auto wire. So with this cache manager, what we can access here, if you see, let me give it here, you can see get cache, right? Get cache means in that method you can pass that cache name, then that cache will return. Suppose you want explicitly do that one, you can do cache names, right? So let's implement that one as well. So I want what are that cache available, based on that name I want that cache. So public cache, alt enter, get cache by name. So I want to see with that cache what are all those elements are there, right? So that time you can explicitly also you can do like this cache manager dot get sorry, here we'll receive that cache name, string cache name, and let's pass this name here. Okay, so let's return Control Alt L. Now let's move to controller, and in that controller we'll return that one public cache get cache details, and here we can have that cache name, one query parameter at the rate request param, and we can pass that cache, we can pass that name, and here we can string name, and in that cache service I can call dot get cache by name, and I can pass that name here. No, so here we have done, and here let me return, and we need to annotate with this one at the red get mapping with some URL. What is the URL we can take? Cache, cache. Okay, so we have done. Now let's check what else we have missed. I think it's pretty much clear. Controller is there, and enable caching is there, pretty clear. And in service I have given that, where is that service package? Here we go. Service package I have given that system.out.println, that is also fine, pretty good. So now let's run that application, and I'll quickly test in Postman. It's a JDK based implementation. Application is starting. Okay, good. So application is running on 8080 port. Let me move to Postman. Okay, so here let me take localhost some 8080, and here what is that one? Cache, what is that name? Let me go to controller, and here we need to search city, no? So here city, and it's a get, so we can pass parameters we can pass. So here high tech city first will pass. Okay, name and high tech city. So first time it will hit that service, means it will go to this method and it will return. So second time onwards it will not invoke this method, right? So it will not invoke this method. So first time we'll get this system.out.println get zip code method called, but second time onwards we will not get. So let's check high tech city 500081. I'm getting that object. So it's, you can see, get zip code method called. Now second time I am hitting again. If you see, again I am hitting, but that time you can see it is not, it's not calling that method, right? It's not invoking that method. Let me call it again. Just see, it's not invoking this method. So the system.out.println is not coming, means it's not invoking that method, and it's returning from that cache, right? Now let's see what is, I mean, this is that name of that cache, no? So what is there inside that cache? We can see with that name cache, and we can pass it cache name. So with that cache name, what are the elements are there, we can check. If you see, let's click it. So you can see here native cache. So high tech city is that key, and value is one object. You can see city name, zip code. High tech city is that key. So whatever that parameter will pass, that parameter directly it will act as a key. Now let's again, let me search with another name. What are other name? SR Nagar. So name SR Nagar I am passing. So here also SR Nagar we have not called. I mean SR Nagar is not there in that case, no. So first time it will go to this method to return that object. And second time onwards it will not go. It will not invoke that method. From that case directly it will come. So let me hit SR Nagar. So we are getting that object. If you see here, we are getting that object. Let's see, it's executed, right? Get zip code method executed. Let me clear that console and let's call it again. Okay, before calling that one, let me check in that case that object is there or not with SR Nagar. CACAC. And what is this case name? City zip code case, right? So let me pass. And you can see with city name SR Nagar, one entry will be there. You can see here SR Nagar with that key and value as that object SR Nagar and zip code, right? So you are getting it perfectly. So next time onwards it will not go to, it will not invoke that method. If you see here, again I am invoking, just see it's not calling. So the cache is working perfectly, right? So now let's see another, what are the other annotations present in that Spring Boot, right? So one more annotation is there, at the rate cache put and at the rate cache evict. So let's discuss that at the rate cache put first. So suppose you are inserting a record to one DB, right? You are inserting a record to the DB, but you want whatever that result you are getting from the DB, you need to put in into the cache. So that time you can use at the rate cache put. So let me return city, put or add city. So here what I am doing, I am taking this, where is that one? Here I am taking one city and city, and I am putting this city into that map. Dot put here, what will that get? String dot get city name, and what will be that value? That entire city object, right? And let's return this city. So cache put, what exactly it will do? Suppose suppose you have another method which will insert some cacheable data to database, right? So that time what, instead of how will load that cache, right? So if you want to, that time itself that same object it should store in that cache, then you can put at the rate cacheable, not cacheable, cache put. So what exactly cache put will do? Whatever the data it will return, it will store into that cache. Whatever the data it will return from that method, it will store into that cache. So let me keep here value. Value you should give that same cache name, right? Whatever that cache, in which cache you want to store, that same name you can give here. So here is the trick here now. So earlier we do have city name as a single parameter, right? But now we have a city as an object. So that time how we can do, we can refer like city dot city name. You are referring that, why it is crying? Okay, key will, that key, right? So key, here you are referring city object dot city name. So city name here you are referring, right? Because we are storing caches as a city name as a key, no? So we are doing like this. So this is cache put. One more, let me try one more annotation. So already caches are there in that cache, right? But we want sometimes we want to refresh that cache, delete that cache entirely, right? Suppose sometimes we want some press or some dv update happened, some new values inserted into the database, right? So that time those old cache we are not required, right? So that time how you will delete that cache, right? So remove that cache entirely from that cache memory, right? So again freshly will hit to the database or API, it will get those results and it will store to the database, right? So how will delete those cache, right? So we can provide an API and we can implement that one. So suppose, or you can do a scheduler if you want each day, suppose maybe bi-weekly or weekly or each day you want to delete that cache, right? So that time you can implement either scheduler, that in that way also it's possible, or you can expose an endpoint. If you hit that endpoint then delete that cache, right? So that is very flexible. It's better we can provide an API so that whenever you want we can delete that cache, right? This is very important while testing also. In test environment we want refresh that cache, right? So that time how we'll do, it's better we can expose an API. If you hit that API then it will refresh that cache or delete that cache entirely, right? So let me do that one. Public void refresh cache or remove cache. Here we not required anything, and we can, it's not void, let me give a string cache refreshed successfully. So at the rate evict, and here you can give that name. So what cache you want to remove, and one more, here we can pass remove all attribute, or what is that, and what is that attribute, remove all entries or something, all entries equal to true. So remove all entries, right? And here let me return some dummy, return removed cache removed successfully. Okay, here we go. So if you call this method then automatically it will remove that entire cache, right? Here all entries equal to true, no? And this is the name, what are the cache name you want to remove that one. Pretty good. Now let's accommodate the same thing in this controller. Public string remove cache, and let's annotate with at the rate get mapping and CSECH cache. It's better we can put a delete mapping, no? Because we are removing cache. Delete mapping. And here we can call that cache dot remove cache. And let me return this one. Okay, here you go. Anything missing? No, everything is good. So let's run this one. Let's rerun this one and we'll see, right? So two things we'll see. One is cache put. For cache put already I have written one, right? Oh, for cache put also I need to write on endpoint. So public city add cache, and here we can take city. This one I want to put. So at the rate request body. Where is that one? Here we go. And here let's return cache service dot, where is that one, add city, and here let me pass this city. Here we go. And let's annotate this one at the rate post mapping and some same thing city. No, control alt L, everything is good. So now we'll test these two things, right? This post mapping and this delete mapping we need to test, right? if you are adding something if you are adding something into the database, then that time whatever the result will return, it will store into that cache, right? This one and this one will see. So let's run this application. Meanwhile, I will open that Postman, and here let's keep this one, and let me take one more tab here. Let's type post, and here we'll do that city, and in body we can pass this some more attribute, some more object we can pass. So it's a raw type, it's a JSON. Where is that JSON? Here we go. And instead of SR Nagar, let's put some city. What is that we can take? What city we can take? Miampur is there in our system. Miampur is there. So let's take Happyspet. HAFZE Happyspet. Spelling wrong, I don't know. Okay, so let's take this suppose 39. So let's create with this one, and we'll hit enter. It's a post mapping good. We get a success response 200, no? So we have added this one to map. So if you see here, we have added this into map, right? So now we can see the same key name with happy spade, that entry should be there in that cache. As the cache map, cache put will work in this way, right? Whatever the result will get, that result will store into that cache, right? So now let's check in that cache what is present. So let me take one more tab to check in that cache, right? I have already implemented that one. CACHC cache name, this one. So let's hit enter. You can see, no, in that cache one entry is there with happy spade, and that object will be stored in that cache. Now just see, no other objects are here, no other entries are here. Now let's hit enter. SR Nagar, SR Nagar 308, right? If you see, earlier only single entry was there with this is the key, this is the value. Now that SR Nagar also will be there. You can see that cache it's present, right? Hope you got these two annotations. Now let's see, we want to remove that cache, right? So how we'll do, let me take one more tab for that one, that is delete mapping. Where is delete mapping? This one. And here what is that endpoint address? It's a cache only. Okay, CACHC cache. So if you delete entire thing, it that cache will be empty. So let's hit enter. Cache removed successfully. Now if you hit that cache name, right, get that cache things, it will return empty. Just see, native cache empty. So it's flushed the entire thing, it's deleted everything, right? Whatever those entries are there, it's got deleted entire thing, right? So hope you got a pretty clear about that Spring Boot cache. So what are those annotations are there? If you see here, those cache put, cache evict, and cacheable, these three annotations I have explained clearly, and Hope you got this one, right? So all other implementation are also same. Other implementation like guava case or it's a eh case, everything is like same way, same annotation, same only. Just we need to change configurations little bit here and there. We need to change that configurations, that's all, right? So hope you got a clear picture. So if this video is helpful to you people, please do like, share and comment. And if you have any questions, please do a comment in that comment section. Definitely I will help you out to resolve if any issues you have, right? So please do considering subscribe my channel also. Thank you for watching.